and propulsion technologies, and is the recipient of various grants from NASA, SATOP, the Department of DOE, and SBIR, and UNICEF, and many others. Without further ado, I'd like to give you Dr. Rivera. And also, there's a sort of change to
Dr. Ralph Blackstone.
Dr. Ralph Blackstone.
Good morning.
Morning.
I think it is good morning still. First of all, I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank very much the Tesla Science Foundation for this invitation. It's the first time that I speak before the Society, Tesla Foundation, and although I have been all of my life a devout follower and believer in what Nikola Tesla did and what he left here for us, the legacy, which cannot be, there's not enough superlatives really to thank for what he's done. I believe it really changed the paradigm. And we are right now on the threshold of making another gargantuan leap as far as the paradigm is concerned. Hopefully we can stop certain forces which have vested interests, which did stop him to some degree, although I'm very glad that they did not stop him in Niagara. As most of you probably are aware, that he had to prove the concept of alternating current against Edison and J.P. Morgan, and he did so flawlessly. In the video, which we're going to be showing here, it'll give you a better idea of what I really believe and what I've been doing most of my adult life, which is not only as a mathematician, as an engineer, as a scientist, being able to delve into areas which are somewhat abstract, without losing the value of understanding that it really does very little for humanity to have an ability to conceptualize, to be able to delve into quantum physics and other esoteric fields, unless we're also able to utilize the concept of what we're learning. And I say this to the students when I speak at various different universities. The important thing is the application mass, as Dr. Naramanish from UCLA has said to many of his students. It's actually the ability to take what we have learned, what we've developed, in order to increase and to enhance the survival of mankind. That's what I've been doing. That's what Dr. Ralph Blackstone, who happens to be an eminent scientist, engineer, also medical doctor. He happens to be our chief anesthesiologist in Dunedin, Florida. As the video will show, we work together because, again, it's something that has been said here a few times today, this morning, with regards to the value of creating strategic alliances. There's an old trite adage that says to be a master of all different fields, it won't work. You can't be, a jack of all of them. I've tried since I learned that in my teens to be at least a master of one, but to be able to at least have a conceptual understanding of the others and to basically create relationships where I can value the fact that other individuals are gifted in other fields, and I can learn from them as a result of this synergistic relationship that we can produce and create valuable products for our society and for the planet at large. So I thank you very much, Ralph, for coming here and being here with me. And what I'd like to do is to ask you, Jeremy, please, if you could start the video. Thank you.
Hello, this is Dr. Nevada once again. I'm continuing with our presentation here of the various different products which do energy proprietary, but some of them are actually in conjunction with one or more companies, other companies. In this particular segment, we're going to be presenting a technology here which was originally designed and developed by one of the greatest inventors, engineers of all times, my intellectual mentor, Nikola Tesla. Back in 1911, he designed a turbine, which was a major breakthrough in regards to the efficiency at which electricity could be produced by utilizing this turbine. Actually, it was installed in New York City at a utility plant on the west side, down in the, if I recall correctly, about 49th Street or so. If that means anything to anyone watching, which today is a Con Edison plant. Regrettably, the material sciences at the time could not withstand the 3-foot diameter that he had on that turbine, which he took up to, I don't remember exactly, it was I think around 35 or 40,000 RPMs, and of course, we have overcome the constraints which prevented that technology from being something viable at that time, and we have that here today. As a matter of fact, I should note that the turbine that you're going to be seeing, we've actually gone a few steps further. We received a grant from SATOP, which is the Space Alliance Technology Group, sponsored by NASA, to actually fund the development of this turbine. And we recently completed phase 1. We will be starting phase 2 probably within the next couple of months. So without further ado, what I'd like to do is to introduce Dr. Ralph Blackstone, who I'm very pleased to have a strategic alliance with, but more importantly, a great mentor. So, thank you, Ralph.
This is a working model of our current Mark II valvular turbine, which we actually sell right now with a microenvironmental chilling system through Bovair Corporation here in Florida. The valvular turbine, Tesla originally called the powerhouse in a hat, speaking of the engine form. The engine and the pump forms of the valvular turbine are basically the same frame but run in opposite directions. We're using this strictly as a pump at this point in time. The valvular turbine works because it's a series of discs that are stacked on a shaft. The plates of the discs are close enough together that the viscosity of the air between the plates has attraction of the air molecules for the 2 plates on either side. As those plates or the discs are then spun, the air is then thrown to the periphery, creating a vacuum in the center. There are spokes in the center that allow air to move in along the shaft and then get thrown to the periphery. There's a spiral volume that collects the air and puts it out through an orifice here. In this case, we're split into 4 because in this system it delivers 4 different poses. Tesla had problems because, like we said, materials weren't there, metallurgy wasn't there, rotary dynamics was essentially an unknown science in 1911, and bearings were limited to 10 bearings. We're now using high-speed borosilicate bearings, and we're about to move into foil bearings with our Mark III turbine, which will allow us to go to speeds that are currently limited to about 25,000 RPM. Will take us upwards of 120,000 RPM. With increases in performance we can't even quite yet judge until we finish our finite element analysis. I got into the development of the valvular turbine, looking at Tesla's original designs, because we needed to run a pressurizing pump with moderate volumes of air flow, but under pressure, so we deliver 3 hoses for the device we're working on for general aviation aircraft. I've been working on microenvironmental air chilling for more than a decade and a half now. And in order to make microenvironmental chilling work, you have to cool the core of the individual years that or aircraft still run on a 12 to 24 volt system. There were none. And in trying to develop one or trying to find one, someone finally suggested we take a look at Tesla. And after building one prototype, we realized this could take us where we want to go. New advances in bearings, technology, electronics, and even new types of electric motors have allowed us now to finally realize the dream that Tesla could not, simply because the materials and the science weren't quite there, but the concept was always right. Okay. What we found in the process is that we can actually start to replace other technologies currently existing at a fraction of the size and the weight, and with much greater efficiency, and more important, much greater longevity. Especially once we get to the Mark III and the air bearings we plan to use, it's almost a frictionless system that basically can operate for years at a time with no more friction than if it had been running for a day. And yet at a cost efficiency that means we would be no more expensive than current, and probably much less expensive, and certainly in terms of longevity from just the pump side, because the near frictionless aspect of this device, the maintenance on these would be nominal at the very least, and possibly non-existent. The pumps are interesting because you can get, especially when we are finally able to go to 120,000 RPM, we'll be able to replace pumps that are 20 times the size of this one and 40 times its weight with something that's far more efficient, requires far less electricity, and basically runs forever. But the pumps aren't the big part of this. The big part of this are the engines. The same design, but instead of producing air, taking in a gasified air stream or any pressurized stream to spin a shaft to produce electricity. We are now aware of new types of electric generators that can, because of the extreme RPM these engines can develop, upwards of 100,000 RPM, in a unit that would extend the current box only by about 4 inches on either side, would be able to produce 30 kilowatts per hour in something that is 2.5 pounds. And that's where the true advantages of these things come, which means now any pressurized airstream could be an electrical generator and power electrical generator, and that's a multi-billion-dollar business that Siemens, GE, any number of the major companies are all trying to produce at this point in time, and yet the real key would seem to be based on Tesla's 1911 design.
Thank you, Jeremy. Could you show part 2? It's just shorter. It's only about 6 minutes. Thank you.
thermal probe underneath the gown on the surgeon operating and found the probe was registering 114 degrees at that point in time. The surgeons are sweating inside these things. And as an anesthesiologist, my problem is keeping my patient warm enough, because when they drop below normal body temp, enzyme systems start to fail, and it prolongs both the anesthetic and their ability to recover, and you can find infection. So what I've been working on for 15 years is cooling the surgeon separate from the operating room, so I can run my operating room with the patient, the surgeon can do whatever temperature he wants. The principle is not just to the turbine alone. It's when you look at the engine, that same efficiency that we can get in the operating room also applies to the engine version when we turn these things into generators. Because with the small generation units, we're basically talking to a major manufacturer about, we're talking about two 15 kilowatt generators already at 100,000 RPM that are only 4 inches in length and 1 inch in diameter. And with two of them, one on either side, we can produce 30 kilowatts per unit. And a unit that's only about a little over a foot wide and the same 4 inches thick and 6 inches tall that this unit is. If these were to go into generation units like nuclear power plants, say, you could easily, in a room basically 30 by 30, be able to generate 30 megawatts of energy. Just from a number of these units stacked together, and yet all you need is a pressurized airstream. And whereas current plants, those generators are huge. You probably spend half your power just getting the bearings to come out of inertia and to move the mass of that generator. Something like this, the mass is non-existent, and the bearings, once we go to air bearings, is almost non-existent too. The efficiency of these are so much bigger, or so much higher. You're basically probably looking at 90% efficiency range for things in terms of watts of energy in versus watts of electric power.
Basically, that also translates into the radioactive core not having to be as great as it would otherwise have to be, which if there were, God forbid, another, and there have been a number of prognostications, especially after what just happened in Japan, and Chernobyl, and it's believed that the gap is narrowing with regard to the potential for more disasters. Hopefully, not hopefully, that will not happen. But if we're able to, because we still need, we haven't found the silver bullet. I don't believe there is a silver bullet per se, with regard to overcoming our energy dependence overnight. But if we are to take our existing nuclear plants and put in this turbine in this generation mode as opposed to defunct mode, we would be able to significantly reduce the nuclear core. Is that and should there be some debacle, the potential as far as the damage, the harm that will be done would be respectively reduced significantly.
With the efficiency here, gut feel is you can reduce that core by 9%, maybe even 99%, and still maintain your kilowatt or megawatt output at the same time. So because they require so much less power in order to generate the same amount of electrical power by going to something that's highly efficient.
Amazing. So it is multifaceted with regards to all of the numerous applications that we have here. What Tesla did in 1911, it's just amazing. For those that are not in the know, today many people take for granted the fact that you turn the power switch and you have electricity because we have alternating current. There's one person to be grateful and to thank for that, Nikola Tesla. And he thought, back in 1911, when he did this, what would it be, powerhouse and a half, that this would be his greatest gift to mankind.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
just like to let you know that we do have one or two of our turbines out on the table outside, and we'll be glad to. We have a driver and everything, so you can kick it on. What we were not able to bring with us because they would not allow it in the airlines, it would have had to have been shipped here a couple of weeks ago or so, is the vest that the doctors put on in the operating room, where 4 hoses come out of the boundary layer turbine and go into a vest, which they wear under their smock in order to keep them cool. And as I said in the video, that's only one of numerous applications that we have for this BLT, this boundary layer turbine. Thank you very much for your attention.
You on stage, you know?